May not fully satisfy political parties, but for many taxpayers, there are some welcome surprises in France's 2026 budget. The tax rate on income will be indexed on inflation. So for this social worker who earns €2,000 net per month, her taxes won't increase.
I was expecting to have to pay higher taxes. As it is, it's difficult to manage the monthly budget if you don't, as an individual, earn over €2,000 a month. It's complicated.
Another bright spot for individuals who employ help at home, be it cleaners or babysitters. Those tax credits stick around. For students, too, there's some good news. All, and not just those on scholarships, have been promised €1 meals at universities. But shoppers may need to watch out. A €2 tax for all small packages shipped from outside Europe will start being applied March 1st. It's expected to bring in some €400 million. Some consumers say it may change their habits.
We look for what's cheap and easy, so if you have to add €2 onto something where the quality just isn't there, it's not worth it.
And it's not just consumers who may have to pay a bit more. Large companies, too, will have to pitch in with a tax on their profits. It's expected to bring in €7.3 billion. Forced through Parliament on Friday, with the constitutional tool 49.3, the budget is, in the words of the government, far from perfect. But the Public Accounts Minister praised it for allowing France to emerge from a climate of uncertainty. After months of negotiations and gridlock, it aims to bring the deficit down to 5% of France's GDP.
For more on this story, we can bring in our French politics editor, Mark Perelman, who joins me on set. Hi, Mark.
Hi.
These two votes in Parliament, they're the last hurdles to get this French budget through. Nobody really thought that this was going to happen, that Sebastien Lecornu could pull it off.
Exactly. I mean, now it seems that he is finally getting over the last hurdle today, as the motion of no confidence vote table by the far right and the far left are likely to be rejected. And this was not a given. First of all, because, as he himself said, Sebastien Lecornu is the weakest prime minister under the Fifth Republic. He has no majority whatsoever. His own camp is divided. And when he first passed the budget of the Social Security at the end of last year, it was already seen as a kind of miracle. And now the overall budget was a much harder task, because he clearly did not have the votes. And this is why he had to go back on his promise not to use Article 49.3 of the Constitution, eventually use it. This means that there is no vote, a formal vote for the budget, but that if there is no motion of no confidence, the budget is still adopted. And this is what is going to happen this afternoon. And so this is no small feat for Sebastien Lecornu, first of all, because he's still there. Let's not forget that two of his predecessors, Michel Barnier and François Bayrou, were kicked out because they lost a majority in the National Assembly. And given the situation in Parliament, he was facing really a very difficult situation, and he could have been thrown out as well. He is still there, and this will be a credit to him. Obviously, the budget is far from perfect. There are many complaints. Some are saying the budget is not, quote unquote, sincere, that the projections of the deficit at 5% is just a fantasy, that the reality will catch up. But at least for now, he can really say that he's survived this, and hopefully he'll be able to deal with other issues as the budget, because it has consumed hours and hours in Parliament, and this maybe help him pass this, because MPs were fed up, their constituents were fed up, only to hear about the budget, cuts, expenditure, and so on and so forth.
All right, well, we're now starting to look towards the next presidential election in May 2027. Can we imagine that any major reforms will be passed by then, given this political deadlock in Parliament?
If you listen to the Prime Minister, yes. But if you look at the reality, probably not, because the presidential election is in a little more than a year. It's scheduled May 2027. First of all, there are municipal elections in a few weeks. So this is already concentrating the minds of many MPs and other politicians. And obviously, given that the budget has been so difficult to pass, one of the key priorities for Sebastien Lecornu will be already to prepare next year's budget. It sounds far away, but the fact that we're already in the month of February, and this has to be passed by the end of next year. Given how difficult it has been, this is already going to consume a lot of his time. Other major reforms, it's very, very difficult because all the issues are controversial, and in a deeply divided parliament, how do you garner a majority for key issues that will probably be debated in the next presidential election, like immigration, education, health? It's very, very difficult, especially because there's no money. So how do you say I'm going to give more means for teachers or for nurses or for workers when there's no money in the bank? The only thing that's really been agreed upon is that there will be more money for the military. This was seen as a key issue because obviously of the war in Ukraine, about given what's happening around the world in the Middle East as we speak, there was consensus, a rare consensus among MPs that there needs to be more money for the military. So this is the only thing, but it's already been agreed upon. So Sebastien Lecornu has said, I'm hoping that the minds are not already focused on the next presidential election, but he probably knows the answer to that question, no.
All right, Mark Perelman, thank you very much for keeping an eye on that story for us.